If you've been following the WNBA at all lately, you know the league is in the middle of a huge growth spurt. Ratings are up, arenas are selling out, merch is flying, and the Indiana Fever have suddenly turned into one of the hottest tickets in all of basketball. But with all that success has come a brand new problem. And it's a good one and a scary one at the same time. The league and the players' union are deep in negotiations on a new collective bargaining agreement that could completely change how rosters are built and how stars get paid. We're talking about a proposed system where young players could be making million-dollar salaries on their first contract extension. Great news if you're a rising star. A potential disaster if you're a team like the Fever trying to keep three of them under one roof. Let's break down what's actually on the table and why Indiana might be the first franchise to feel the full weight of it. The headline number is wild. The WNBA is discussing a jump in the team's salary cap from around $1.5 million to roughly $5.75 million in the first year of a new deal. That is a 280% increase. That tells you how quickly money is coming into the league. Media rights, sponsorship deals, sold-out crowds, social media traction. The league finally wants a salary cap to reflect that, but it's not just the cap that's changing. There's also a new mechanism being floated that people are already calling the performance fast track or the Caitlin Clark rule. The idea is simple. If you're on a rookie contract and you play so well that you make first or second team All-WNBA, you shouldn't have to wait until your second or third big deal to get paid like a superstar. Under this proposal, in year 4 of your rookie deal, you'll be eligible for a full maximum contract. On paper, that sounds exactly like what players have been asking for. Pay us in line with our impact, not just our years of service. In practice, for a team like the Fever, it creates an absolutely brutal math problem. Think about Indiana's core. Aaliyah Boston, last year's #1 pick, already proved she's that level of player. She came in as a rookie, made an immediate impact, made all WNBA, and established herself as one of the best bigs in the league straight away. Under this new rule, she'd be eligible for a max contract in 2026. Then you've got Caitlin Clark. She hasn't even played a WNBA game yet. And she's already basically the face of the league. The ratings bump, the ticket spike, the attention. A huge chunk of that is because of her. If she does what most of us expect and plays at an all-WNBA level early in her career, she'd hit that same fast track in year 4. That would be 2027. And we're not done. Veteran guard Kelsey Mitchell has been holding it down in Indiana through some rough years, and now she's finally got help around her, under a bigger cap. She's lining herself up for a Supermax type extension as well, based on service time and production. Now look at the money. Right now, a WNBA max is in the neighborhood of $249,000. Under this proposed CBA with the cap exploding, that top salary could jump to something like $1.3 million. One player, $1.3 million. On a $5.75 million cap. That's almost 23% tied up in a single contract. And that's where the Rachel Demita comment comes in. She laid out very clearly, if you're the Fever and you commit to 3 max-level deals for Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell, you're talking about roughly $3.9 million out of $5.75 million going to just 3 players. That's about 65 to 70% of your entire cap for 3 people. That would leave you with, a little under $2 million to sign the rest of the roster? You still need 9 more players. You still need shooting, defense, bench depth, veterans, role players, emergency bigs. Suddenly you're in that stars and scrubs territory. 3 megastars and a bench full of rookie minimums, third stringers, and whoever you can afford. Now, in NBA terms, we've seen super team models. We've seen 3 max guys on one roster. But the NBA cap is much bigger, and the middle class is structured differently. In the WNBA, where rosters are smaller and the drop-off from a max player to a minimum is steep, that kind of top-heavy build can get very risky very fast. So you can see why people are calling this an impossible choice situation for Indiana. If the CBA passes as currently written, the Fever could be forced to look at their 3 franchise cornerstone players and quietly ask, who are we actually building our cap around? On one side, you have Caitlin Clark. She's not just a star. She's a phenomenon. She's the player casual fans know. She's selling jerseys, selling out road arenas, pulling non-WNBA fans into product. From a business and branding perspective, that's the person you want locked up on a max deal the second you're allowed to do it. The league knows that too. That's why this fast track is already being nicknamed after her. On another side, you've got Aliyah Boston. She's not just another star. She's the interior anchor, the defensive backbone, the young big you can run an offense through. She's already shown she can produce at an all-WNBA level. And she did it on a rookie deal. She came in, accepted the challenge of being a franchise player, and delivered. And then there's Kelsey Mitchell, the veteran who was putting up numbers before the Fever were even remotely relevant again. If you reward loyalty and production, you want to take care of her too. She's earned her place at the table when you start talking about supermax dollars. So how do you juggle 3 massive salaries under one cap without strangling the rest of the roster? One path is to simply bite the bullet. You give them all what the market says they deserve and try to get creative filling out the rotation. Hit on draft picks. Find undervalued vets. Trust that your 3 stars are so good they can carry weaker depth. It's not impossible, but it's fragile. An injury or a bad draft can sink you. Another path is harder to swallow emotionally, but cleaner on a spreadsheet. You trade someone early. If you decide, for example, that Clark is the non-negotiable face of the franchise and Boston is too good to let go, maybe you explore the market for Mitchell before her new deal kicks in. Or if you commit to Mitchell and Boston long-term, you could, in theory, flip Clark for an absolutely massive haul and spread that talent and salary across multiple positions. That kind of move would be shocking. And I'm not saying they should or would do it, but cap math can push teams into decisions they never thought they'd consider. There's also a softer version where you try to negotiate something slightly south of the full max for one of them. Maybe you sell it as, we want to build a dynasty. We need a little breathing room. That only works, though, if the market and the union environment allow for it. With a new CBA, rising salaries, and players more aware than ever their value, that might be a tough sell. People also forget that this doesn't just hit Indiana. Any team that hits on multiple young stars at once will feel this. But the Fever are the clearest, cleanest example because we can see the names and the timeline right in front of us. Boston 2026. Clark 2027. Mitchell's extension somewhere in that window. It's all stacked. And all of this is happening under a real clock. The league has reportedly set a March 10th deadline to get this new CBA ratified. If they don't get a deal done, the season opener on May 8th could be delayed. You got this massive wave of new fans coming in, a chance to truly capitalize on the moment. And at the same time, you're one bad negotiating week away from pushing the season back and losing momentum. From a player's side, the logic behind this performance fast track is completely understandable. If young women are driving ratings, putting the league on their back, winning awards, and carrying the spotlight, they shouldn't be locked into low rookie salaries while owners and networks cash in. This is about correcting an imbalance and showing that the WNBA is ready for real star money. From the team's side, especially a front office that suddenly has 3 legit all-WNBA caliber talents on one depth chart. The concern is structural. If the maximum individual salary goes to $1.3 million and the cap is $5.75 million, maybe that top number needs to be a smaller percentage, or there needs to be some kind of exception for homegrown talent, or a bonus pool outside the cap for award winners. Otherwise, you're silently punishing the franchises that draft well and develop talent. What makes this feel almost like a royal family situation is that Indiana has, in a weird way, assembled its own little basketball monarchy. Caitlin Clark is like the new crown jewel, the visible heir apparent of the league's future. Aliyah Boston is the steady queen in the paint, the one who keeps everything stable inside. Kelsey Mitchell is the loyal veteran, the one who held the throne room together when nobody was paying attention. The new CBA, as written, basically tells the Fever, you can't keep the entire royal court forever. At some point, you have to decide who sits on the main throne financially. And that is not a choice any GM wants to be forced into, especially when all 3 players are likable, productive, and beloved by different parts of the fan base. What happens next is going to tell us a lot about the direction of the WNBA. If this version of the CBA gets ratified, We're going to enter an era where young stars are properly paid much earlier, but super teams might be harder to maintain. The league could become more balanced top to bottom, but long-term dynasties will be harder to build unless there are adjustments to how max deals interact with the cap. If the players push back and ask for tweaks to this Caitlin Clark rule, you might see a compromise. Maybe performance bonuses that don't count fully against cap, or a different timeline for when rookie scale all WNBA players can move all the way up to the true max. Either way, the Indiana Fever are sitting at the center of this storm. They drafted right. They got a franchise big. They landed the biggest name in women's basketball. They held on to their veteran scorer. They did everything a rebuilding team is supposed to do. And now the system might make that success harder to sustain financially. So as we get closer to that March 10th deadline, this is what to watch. Does the CBA get agreed to on time, keeping the May 8th start date safe? Does the performance fast track rules stay as aggressive as the current proposal? Or do we hear about changes to the language? And when those new numbers hit the books, how quickly do we start hearing about extensions and long-term plans for Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell? Because this isn't just a money story. It's about what kind of league the WNBA wants to be in this new era, and whether teams that strike gold in the draft